Hello and welcome everyone back to the iFormula iFL1 League here at the Hungaroring. I was going to say where it is in Hungary. It says Imola in the title. I'm just going to change that really quickly. But had an exciting F1 race today in real life. So looking forward to an exciting race today. And I'm joined by Tony Trapasso. Hello, Tony.
Jason, how you doing tonight? I've expected some pretty good action here at the Hungaroring. My first time here, but from what I've seen in the warm-up session and the practice session and some blistering times in the qualifying session, we're in for a treat today, my friend.
Yeah, it's an interesting circuit to say the least. I have to admit, not my favourite in these cars. I think it's better in GT3 racing because this is quite a tight and technical circuit. But
Yeah, I would think something with a shorter wheelbase,
yeah,
and a little less power at the rear wheels. This track would be really fun, but these guys seem to be getting a hang of it. Guys and gal seem to be getting a hang of it pretty quick here tonight.
yeah, absolutely. And these guys seem to be able to produce a good race no matter what. So I look forward to this every time I do it, roughly every week. But let's
Over here,
have a
we
look.
refer to that as making a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
What was that? Sorry.
I said over here, we refer to that as making a silk purse out of a sow's ear when you can take anything and make it look good.
Yeah. Well, it's sure is a talent, and let's see how these drivers are doing in terms of championship. So, Igor Filipic still up at the top. I believe we didn't see him last time around, and we're not seeing him here today. We are seeing Jeremy Shipley, who's only 5 points behind, so a good points finish, and he will definitely get into first place. Christina Ryan also not present at this race, unfortunately. In third, Avon Haugland is unfortunately also not present in fourth. The next driver down that we are seeing here is Thomas Varnes in sixth.
He's going to be starting on pole.
Okay, yeah. So that's going to be a good start for him. And that is the rest of them. Let's take a look at the constructors. Still got Pleb Racing up at the top. They had a good first few rounds. Then we've got Belford Racing sitting in second at the moment, with Raspberries close behind in third. Bit of a gap down to DriveX Esports in fourth, and then Racing Lab Esports making up fifth. Cuda Works at the bottom, still yet to get a point. So
As you would expect with a drivers or constructors championship, there's always those teams that they're right there on the cusp every time.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure whether any of them are here tonight, but can get a full list of who is here by going through the room. We've got Thomas Varnes on pole, as you said, Jeremy Shipley starting alongside him in second, Jakub Mijewski in third, with Tony Jimenez in fourth, Alexander Shanna in fifth. Doesn't want to show everything. It also says Imola on there as well. Let's change that. Weston Epps in sixth, Rodrigo Miranda in seventh, Juan Jose Gonzalez eighth, Rory Collins ninth, Elise Long 10th, and Damaris Hickenbottom is 11th.
So 11 cars scheduled to roll off here tonight. 70 laps, the scheduled distance. Everyone looks like they are on the grid, and we are about ready to turn them loose. Revs coming up on the engines. Green lights flash, and we are underway at the Hungaroring. Barnes getting a pretty decent takeaway, though.
That was a great start from Thomas Varnes. Jakub Mijewski's going to be looking to make up some positions on Shipley. That's Shanna running a bit wide in the background there.
Track limits, my friend, track limits.
Yeah. Shanna and Jimenez going side by side. Weston Epps maybe looking to follow his teammate through. Not quite going to happen there, but he's going to try it up in the run to turn 4 down the inside on that left-hander. Not quite happening for him, though.
That's going to open the door for Miranda to get on his rear wing. Sorry, I'm so used to doing full fender stuff these days. But Epps under attack now from Miranda. Everybody getting pretty strung out. The closest battle, though, is right behind them between Miranda, Long, and Gonzalez, as they are stem to stern right now, trying to figure that one out for 7th place.
Yeah, as you said, Rodrigo Miranda's got to be careful with a charging Elisa Long behind. They've gone up by 2 positions so far on this opening lap. Bit of a lock-up there into the first hairpin of 2 here to round out the lap. But it goes Vaughn, Shipley, Majewski, Shanna, Jimenez, Epps, Miranda, Long, Gonzalez, Collins, and Hickenbottom across the line for the first lap.
Well done, my friend, because I probably would have stepped on my tongue about 5 times trying to say that.
Oh, I've tried to perfect it over a few months. Yeah.
That'll start to heat up for 4th between Shanna and Jimenez. Still haven't gotten that one sorted out yet. Jimenez just stalking Shanna right now as everybody trying to get the feel. Almost the entire field starting on the mediums, all except for Juan Jose Gonzalez, currently running in 9th. He's elected to start on the hards. Now, they do have to use 2 different compounds throughout the race tonight. And, of course, no fuel stop. It's all tire strategy at this point. And Jason, I'm not sure if I would have started on the mediums.
Well, it depends what tyre wear they're expecting. I cannot remember for the life of me what tyre wear was like in real life, but in sim it's probably slightly different anyway.
I mean, we've got a mostly cloudy sky.
Yeah.
With a 51% relative humidity, and relatively cool track conditions compared to what we have seen at other locations recently. I would have started with the softs and just let it eat and see what happens from there.
Yeah, it definitely gives you the pace advantage, but if they all reckon they can do a medium to hard on one stop, that could well be quicker. But we'll have to see as the race goes on. I think Tony Jimenez is definitely quicker than Alexander Shanna in Sector 1. But then you get through to this tight twisty section in Sector 2, and really difficult to follow through here with these high downforce cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the wings punch such a big hole in the air, there's a lot of turbulence if you get right behind someone. So you really have to be close enough to use DRS, which I believe Jimenez is just ever so slightly outside of that. It looks like Shipley having connection issues.
Yeah, no, Jimenez is very much so inside the DRS range. Have to be within a second for that one. He'll be able to.
And there it opens up right there.
Open. See whether we can get close enough. He's gaining. Shanna looks to the inside. He's going to have to be around the outside for Jimenez, but he locks it up. And it goes into a half spin, nearly spinning out fully, but just about recovering that. Good recovery, I think, considering Weston Epps manages to get past, only losing 1 position out of a half spin. That's not the worst it could have gone, to be honest.
That was a hell of a save, and the fact that he kept the car rolling.
Oh, there's another one.
Epps does the exact same thing.
Yeah, apart from losing 1 position, it looks like he's going to lose 3 or 4. He's got Juan Jose Gonzalez right behind him, Tony Jimenez's teammate.
Well, we're going to see what the pace difference is between the mediums and the hards right here, as Gonzalez right on the back of Epps right now. A little bit of dirt on the track somebody kicked up. Looks like we had a couple off-track excursions already here that we may have missed, but you can see just that slight pace advantage right now early on for the mediums. Gonzalez, though, holding his own in contact. Ooh. Going into the corner.
Yeah, probably wasn't so much contact, but a lock-up most definitely.
Oh, no.
I think
look at the front wing on Gonzalez's car. That thing is tweaked.
Camera angles aren't giving me much hope here.
TV3 is a really good picture of it. You can see him coming down into 1, the right front right side of that front wing. It's got a wow in it. and that's not that easy to do with carbon fiber. So that wing is not long for this world. I expect his fast repair to be burned when he comes in for his tire stop.
Well, I think Western Epps may be being saved by the netcode gods there, because any sort of contact in these cars is near enough a death sentence, so maybe some good fortunes coming his way.
Well, in his defense, Gonzalez did hit him square, but it was tire to wing contact that really messed up the front of Gonzalez's car. As looks like the field getting pretty strung out right now. There's everybody kind of finding their own pace, finding what they can do with their car right now in the early going. We've only got 5 laps in the books, so a lot of racing left to go here today at the Hungaroring. And just outside of Budapest is where this is located. I'm going to try the pronunciation of the actual town, and I know I'm going to butcher it, so please feel free in the live chat. Just go ahead and put me on blast for this one. Magyarország?
Just looking it up now, and I'm going to see if I can get it. By the sounds of it, something like Magyarország.
Okay, I wasn't that far off. I just didn't put enough.
Could be a lot worse.
I didn't put enough Swedish accent on there. Chris Lace checking in the live chat right now. He's pulling for Alyssa. Currently, she's running in 7th, doing a pretty decent job.
You say that. They're now in the pits and have crashed. I didn't see that one. Let's take a replay of that one. Replay has paused.
Oh my!
And turn 5 curb. Ooh, whack!
And that is
did actually just
over.
See that, yeah. Because
ouch!
Rules here, unfortunately, you have 2 powers that you can do. You can return to pits, and you can use a fast repair. You cannot do both at the same time.
Yeah, you can't tow and use it.
Yeah, that is firmly not allowed and will get you disqualified.
Well, from what it looked like, and this is just me having raced Watkins Glen enough times, and I found out going into turn 1 at Watkins Glen, you can swing wide, but there is a curbing on the exit of the corner. And you can put 2 tires on the curb. You can put 4 tires over the curb. Don't put one set of tires on one side of the curb and one set of tires on the other and then try to hit the brakes. You're not going to have a good day, and that's exactly what happened to Alyssa right there.
Yeah, you don't want to be taking too much of that. See if I can. I don't know why it pauses when you go to live, but oh well. That's
that
not
to
a
me
particularly
too.
good view. But looks like it might have been on the throttle a bit too early actually, and that curb doesn't have.
Yeah, but she was straddling the curb whenever she either hit the throttle or the brakes. I'm not sure which, but whatever it was, just snapped that car around because it's the equivalent of even skateboarding, correct, Jason? You ever been on a skateboard?
I
haven't. You ever seen anybody ride a skateboard?
I know how they work.
Okay, you know how when they jump up onto a handrail?
Yeah.
That's basically what she was doing on that curbing. Because these cars sit so low to the ground, it's very easy to unsettle the car like that. And you're basically doing a 50-50 rail grind with a Formula 1 car at 150 miles an hour. And you completely disrupt any underbody aero that you've got.
Yeah, no, that's it's definitely not the way you want to be going around the track. But I think if you get on that curb too much, as you said, and you disrupt the area, you try and get on the power, because you're not going to be braking there. We'll just go completely around. Looking a bit back in the field now, we've got Tony Jimenez getting ever closer to Alex Shanna. lap after lap. We'll be within DRS range pretty soon, maybe even on the next time down the start-finish straight. There's only the one DRS zone here, as it's not straight long enough to use it.
Jimenez actually picked up a half a second that last lap on Shanna, so Shanna's starting to struggle here a little bit. Now they did flop positions where they qualified, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Jimenez gets back to Shanna, as Miranda has gotten passed by Abs, and now we've got a little bit of a battle. It's not a major battle yet. There's a little bit of distance, but Gonzalez, I've been watching the last couple of laps. Gonzalez, currently sitting in 8th in the 444, is very, very slowly starting to reel in Weston Epps. Now, you got to keep in mind, too, Gonzalez started on the hards. Epps started on the mediums. So, real interesting dichotomy that's starting to form there, as we would expect. The later this run goes, and you know, the more wear that gets put on these tires, Gonzalez is looking better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's gonna be so. Oh, that was very loose coming out of turn 1 there for Jimenez, just about collecting it up. And I was wrong. There are 2 DRS zones, but the one between turn 1 and turn 2 is very, very short. Probably why I didn't remember it.
I would think that there would be one in the next grade. Not the. No, I guess it's not. There's not really a long straightaway here. I mean, there's a couple of them that you could throw a DRS zone in. But, you know, I'm not really sure if I agree with the way Formula One does their whole, you know, DRS or push to pass model. Now, granted, this particular car, you know, it's pretty well regulated, but with the new model that they're coming out with, that you know, the real world Formula One drivers are using now, I don't see why they couldn't adopt something more akin to what we see in the world of IndyCar racing, where you have 10 push to pass units available, and what those do is they slam the wastegate completely shut, so that you normally, let's say you run a bar and a half of boost normally, under a push to pass situation, you'll get up to 3, maybe 4 bars of boost out of your turbo at that point. Now, granted, yes, the Formula One engine regulations are a lot more stringent than they are in the world of Indy cars, whereas these engines have to last, 4 races, I think it is?
What, these engines?
Well, the way Formula One currently has their engine package set up.
The way it was set up for this car in particular, hang on, let me just get that up. I believe I know for a fact they only had a certain amount of engine parts available, as looks like there's going to be a move here between Jimenez and Shanna. Jimenez just about not getting past. Second DRS straight, maybe something can happen here. We pause our engine talk for just a minute until the next time we come round.
Absolutely, Jimenez is gonna. This is where I thought they would have one, is that downhill. You know, because you do have time to open up the wing there. But yeah, Jimenez, he tried it. Shanna was able to successfully defend going into 1. Defensive line down the front straightaway. It's costing Shanna time, as Jimenez is just, he's running the daylights out of him right now and putting enough pressure on him that you would think this is a battle for the lead on the last lap.
Yeah. So, Let's just wait for the engine discussion after this, because Jimenez will get close with the DRS. We'll see whether he can make an overtake. It looks like it's been a good exit. Close enough. Looks like he might be able to send one down the inside. Looking for it. Shanna's going to have to defend the outside. Still slightly side by side. Not quite going to happen there. Is it going to be into turn 2? Didn't use any DRS. So
Jimenez did the right thing there, and he didn't try to run Shanna wide. A lot of respect being shown between these two right now, as this is your closest battle on track. Battle for 4th place between Alexander Shanna out of the U.S. and Spain's own Tony Jimenez, as these guys have not given an inch since the green flag came out. Yeah,
no, definitely. But it's been good to see them running so close together, because it is difficult to follow in these cars, especially through this Sector 2. You see, you get an immense amount of understeer through the medium speed corners when you're especially this close to someone, but it does just show that there is a pace difference. And Jimenez is a lot closer this time around. Not the best final corner, but I think he'll be completely alongside here coming into turn 1. We'll see, is Shanna going to try and defend to the inside? Yes, he is. Jimenez is going to have to go around the outside of turn 1. Giving a lot of space, a bit of a lockup, maybe just a bit too quick into the corner. Could use DRS here to try and get him into turn 2. They're going to be alongside in turn 2 as well, the left-hander. But looks like Shanna can hold on for another lap.
Yeah, it looked like Jimenez coming out of the final corner onto the front straightaway had a lot of aero push, so he couldn't lay the power in like he wanted to, and that really cost him a little bit of track position there. Now, if you take a look at the lap times the two of them turned, you're 0.2 difference right now. A 1:20.22 for Shanna and a 1:20.09 for Jimenez, so just over a tenth.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these guys are just picking him up and laying him down right now. And I'm looking more towards the front of the field. Varnes and Shipley just set identical lap times, both with 1:18.8 dead for both of them. But...
just like to say, look at how close Jakub Miewski is getting to Jeremy Shipley as well. So we're going to have to choose our battles here at some point, but it looks like Jimenez is going to try it once again. Carbon copy of not last lap, but the lap before. He's going to go deeper into the corner this time. Looks like he might be able to make it work. Is Shannon going to be able to get a switch back? No, he isn't. There's not another DRS detection point, so Jimenez is going to have the DRS to try and run away slightly. And considering how close Jimenez could follow, I think there's enough of a pace difference that he's just going to try and run away now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keeping an eye on that battle for second between Shipley and Majewski. You can tell that Shipley realizes where the 16 is in relation to his own car, and he started to push a little bit harder now, as the lap times are still in the sub 1:19, which is impressive. There's only 3 drivers that are still sub 1:19 here, and that's Varnes, Shipley, and Majewski.
Yep, and speaking of, here we go. Depend on how much ERS they're using for this one, I think. Miewski not quite going to get alongside this time around. Ooh, running a bit deep into the corner. Not quite hitting his apex, so he's not going to be close enough for a move into turn 2, unless he really tries it, but not going to happen there. But I have answers to your engine question.
Yes.
So, in last season, effectively, they were allowed to use 3 of the internal combustion engines, the MGU-H, the MGU-K, and the turbochargers, and they were allowed 2 batteries and ECUs.
Okay, so if they tried to do with that engine package, if they tried to do what IndyCar was doing, the engine wouldn't last as long as they would need it to.
Yeah, no.
But it might be something to revisit, considering that IndyCar is now going to a hybrid unit as well here for 2023. So I would love to see very similar powertrain packages for both series, making it a little bit easier for an F1 team to come play on the ovals. And there we go for second. Big move going into one. Had a great run into the DRS zone, and just like that, we've got a new second place.
Yep, Shipley had a bit of DRS to try and make it work, but didn't quite have the exit speed. But yeah, as you said, the engines probably wouldn't last. It'd be interesting to see how IndyCar tries to do it, but I think what they were mainly going for is trying to get more overtakes into Formula 1 with the DRS system that was introduced at some point in the early 2010s, can't quite remember when. But
yeah, I don't remember exactly when either, but
yeah, the most eco-friendly way of doing it was just to open the rear wing.
Well, if you remember when it started, it wasn't right now they use what they call a servo to open it. Before it wasn't. There was an air duct that ran along the cockpit, and the driver had to reach over and cover it with either their hand or their knee when it first came out.
Yeah, and obviously they didn't want people to take their hands
Take
off
your
the
hands
wheel
off the
while
steering
driving at nearly 200 miles an hour.
I'll pass. No thanks, I'm good.
And I think
but did you know, Jason, since we are talking about Formula 1 and IndyCar, that at one time the Indianapolis 500 was part of the Formula 1 Championship Series?
Yes, yeah. Which is why whenever someone brings up a question in a pub quiz about, who was... how many F1 drivers can you name that won one time? You have to think American.
Yes.
There's just so many one-time Indy 500 winners who just so happen to have won a Formula 1 race without even trying to compete in Formula 1.
Yeah, exactly. But with different teams exploring, different series, I mean, we've heard talk for the last couple of seasons that Ferrari might be trying a shot at Indy. McLaren has been working at Indy. So, I would love to see, because I remember it was way back in the days, before my time even, that they ran some exhibition races, Formula 1 against IndyCar at a couple different circuits. And the rules packages were so vastly different that, on the tight, twisty tracks, the IndyCars had the advantage. On the tracks where you could really let the car hang out and eat and use all 200 plus mile an hour out of the car, the IndyCars had the advantage on those tracks. So, I would love to see the rule books a little bit closer to each other, not identical copies of each other, but a little bit closer, and see, let the teams, like if they have an off weekend with the series that they normally run with, let their car be close enough that with a couple minor changes, they could go run the other series if they so chose to.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see. But I'm pretty sure, as it is now, IndyCars in a straight line probably got at least 30 miles an hour on these F1 cars.
Well, you figure they're hauling it off into turn one at Indy at like 235, almost 240.
Yeah.
So
highest you tend to see is probably about 205.
Well, that's because these cars aren't designed right now. They don't have an aero package right now for all-out speed. It's more akin to a downforce track. So if you put something like this in at the St. Petersburg Prix or
I meant
the
at
road
Monza.
course at Detroit, I guarantee you one of these would eat their lunch.
Yeah, probably.
Field's starting to get really strung out here,
yeah.
Jason. As we're about 20 laps in, so nobody's starting on the softs. I don't think we're going to see a pit stop happen anytime soon. As Thomas Barnes, 20 laps into this piece, just reset the fastest lap of the race with a 1:18.38. Good grief.
Yeah. Definitely going for it. Was Majewski catching a bit before this? Because that might explain that, because that gap's still only at about 5 seconds.
He was, but it wasn't really noticeable. I mean, it was 6 seconds. Now it's down to just over 5. But that last lap, half a second to the good for Barnes.
I also noticed that Rodrigo Miranda's last lap was half a second quicker than Alexander Shanna's last lap. Have a quick look if that's... looks like it's fairly consistently going in Miranda's way, so that's... Ooh, Shanna
that's gonna
spins.
Hurt. There goes Miranda.
Well, that's going to... yeah, that's going to make that one happen.
It looks like Shannon was starting to feel the pressure, even though there wasn't a lot of pressure to be felt.
A case of a bit too much power.
Which is very easy to do with this hybrid system.
Yeah, it looks like it was a case of a bit too much power with still turning out the corner. And there you go, that makes you end up perpendicular to the track.
So Jason, let me ask you this. Now, I did watch some of the preseason testing for the current Formula One season, and I forget which driver said it, but he said it felt like going to a heavy metal concert at almost 200 miles an hour with how much the car was porpoising due to the shock and spring packages that they were trying on the cars with the new lower profile tires. Has that improved at all?
Yeah, they've managed to improve it a bit. I mean, some teams more than others, but you can definitely tell that the teams who have tried to improve it more by raising the ride height are just absolutely hemorrhaging time. I think they said on the broadcast today something about raising the ride height having an impact of about 7.5 tenths a lap on some teams.
Which is will not even show up at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we've seen a lot of shock results actually in real life. We've got Haas, the American F1 team, who were lingering at the back for a good 2 or 3 seasons now, and they've had some decent results. I'm not going to talk about it too much to spoil the race, but I can tell you they're not at the back.
Well, I mean, you see that all the time when you know a new regulation is coming out, whether it be engine or chassis or aero. There's some teams that just say, okay, screw this season, we're going to focus on the new regulation. And I wouldn't put it past Haas to have done that.
Yeah, it probably has. I mean, the sponsor money that they would have received from the departed driver Nikita Mazepin probably would have helped with that. But yeah, it's been some surprises, and it's definitely, like, we can tell immediately that it's much easier to follow with the 2022 package than it is with the 2021 package, and I believe I'm right in saying that the deal with iRacing and Mercedes meant that the 2022 car would be coming into iRacing at some point?
Don't tease me like that.
I think that was part of it. Let me have a look.
What they need to do is they need to open this thing up for.
Yeah, that is. I did remember correctly.
Well, being as this is currently the only open wheel car in the iRacing server that you can't put a custom paint job on. Being as I am an iRacing painter myself, I know I'm not happy with the fact that I can't, whip something up special for someone for this car. As looks like we've got green flag pit stop starting to take place. Rory Collins in and out already. Collins has gone to the hards. Shipley's in pit road as well from third place. Just lost that to Jimenez.
Yeah.
Let's see what Shipley changes on to.
Would also expect hard tyres, I think, coming in on lap 25. You see how long you can take the hards. If you need to do another pit stop, then chuck it on.
He stayed on the
softs. Yep. Okay, that's guaranteed 2-stop for Shipley then. As he comes out
he's probably going to go medium, soft if that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. And didn't notice actually last time around, Jakub Majewski is absolutely flying.
Wow.
As he set a 1:18.23 now, which is 10th and a half off the best time so far.
That is blistering one right there. And take a look at Jimenez. He's not that far behind. Those are the only two drivers last time by that went sub 119. Your leader, Thomas Barnes, went 119.37. So almost a full second to the good for Majewski.
Yeah, see what... lap times are slightly different now. That's... Vaughan's got a 10th back in that lap, but definitely shows the pace that Majewski can have and can seem to just bring out at any given point.
The fact that these guys are still doing sub 120s. Now, mind you, the rest of the field that hasn't come pit side yet are still well north of the 1 minute 20 mark. I would expect Barnes, Majewski, and Jimenez to stay out just as long as they possibly can on these mediums.
Yeah, I mean, if you stay out for a while, then you can probably go onto the hards from lap 30 and expect to make it. We'll see how long Juan Jose Gonzalez goes. Western Epps is also in. Looks like it's going to be hards on that as well. Shows up as mediums on your screen, but they are hard tyres.
Yeah, the telemetry that we've got with the sim on our side shows that Gonzalez, Epps, and Collins are all on the hard compound, so expect them to not come back into pit road, or if they do, they're going to put the softs on and try to just blister one at the end here. But I would expect Barnes, Majewski, Jimenez, and Miranda to all kind of stay out about as long as they can. Miranda's the only one that's starting to noticeably drop. And holy cow! Jeremy Shipley.
Absolutely showing what he's got and what those new medium tyres have. What they have is pace. 1:17.93 last time around for him. That's blown Majewski's 1:18.2 out the water a little bit, and he's probably going to keep going quicker as fuel burns off. We're getting towards halfway. It's only 8 laps to that point. So this aggressive strategy showing that he's absolutely flying. He's going to be approaching his teammate very, very soon.
The question with Shipley is he going to two-stop this race? Being as he does have to change compounds at some point, is he going to go to the softs or is he going to go to the mediums? I would say he's probably going to go to the medium or go onto the soft instead of the hard, because at this point, it wouldn't make any sense to go hard.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's gone medium. He pitted lap 24, so we can get about to a lap 50, maybe slightly longer, as Rodrigo Miranda letting his teammate through. 1:17.7, he's just going to keep going quicker.
Jeepers.
But yeah, medium to soft is definitely possible.
And that, if that's the case, what type of lap times are we going to see at the closing laps of this race? Being as you've burned most of the fuel off, and now you're on the gumball compound, you know, those second, third, and fourth laps out after the next round of pit stops for Shipley, I dare say we're going to see, you know, lap times that would rival what set pole position here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Mievski now into the pits, but real life race lap record sits at a 1:16.6, set by Lewis Hamilton in the 1 year older version of this car, a Mercedes W11 in 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix.
1:16.6?
Yes, and the sim cars tend to be a bit quicker because obviously you can absolutely rag it and you're not going to have your life in the line. As Mievski goes on to the hard compound tyre, so we're seeing differences here in strategy already.
I hate to say this, Jason, but the top 7 drivers in qualifying today would have reset that track record set by Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
1:15.2, 1:15.3, 1:15.7, 1:15.7, 1:15.9, 1:16 dead, 1:16.1. That was your top 7 qualifiers.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the difference in pace between real life and sim. Sim tends to be at least 2 seconds quicker at all times, as Barnes now into the pits, and the Hickenbottom in the background following him in as well.
It's going to be fun to see how this one shakes out.
Yeah, just see which compound's going to go.
Well, we're about to find out.
It's
Up,
be the
down,
hards.
and away, hards. And that hands the lead of the race over to Tony Jimenez.
Yep, temporary lead for him as Varnes comes out in second. See the gap between himself and Mievski, that's going to drop as well, as Mievski's tyres are up to temperature. Varnes is still going to get his up to temperature. Obviously they're in tyre blankets, but they're definitely not still at working temperature yet.
Yeah.
So we could see a change for the effective lead here. But expect to see Shipley come into the mix with this as well on his medium tyres as opposed to these guys' hards.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at, you know, right now these guys are basically on their out lap, or at least Mievski is on his first flyer. Last time Shipley came by was a 1:18.9 dead. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the 16 and the 12 can do here, as Jimenez still up the road, but he's losing time. So you got to wonder, when is he going to come in and what compound is he going to, as he stays out for another lap.
Yeah.
I believe that's Rory Collins in front of his teammate. Varnes looks to the inside. Yes, that is Collins. So Varnes has very little issue getting through the lap traffic there. And what type of issues is Collins going to give to Mievski? And absolutely none is the answer to that question.
Yeah, it's always easier to get out of the way sooner rather than later, because then you're not going to even potentially risk getting a penalty for getting in someone's way, because they all have to get out of the way if they're blue flags, just because it's so difficult to follow in these cars.
Absolutely. As Varnes can see Jimenez right now in front of him. What was a 3-second gap now down to just over 1 second. and he's starting to pull away from Majewski a little bit. So Varn's kind of in the catbird seat right now. Although surprisingly, Majewski's last lap time, we were wondering what's going to happen with Shipley as Jimenez peels off. Majewski's going back in the pits? Yes, he is.
Potentially speeding in the pit lane? Is that going to be a drive-through for him?
Well, we're about to find out as a couple noteworthy issues to take mind of.
Stopping.
Alexander Shanna went onto the softs after his pit stop, as did Demetrius Hickenbottom.
Yeah, well, Majewski didn't stop, so that was a drive-through for whatever reason.
Nothing popped up from race control in the in-sim chatter.
Wow. I'm not too sure then, because he doesn't have a teammate in this race, because they crashed out on lap 5.
Yes, Alyssa Long did have issues, and she has decided to take it back to the hauler and call it a night. But she had a great run going right up until that point.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's not much more you can do. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no.
I'm not sure whether it does repair the wheels that have come off the car, and even if it does, it's going to take a long, long time. So there's probably not even much point in trying to leave the pits after that.
Wow, Varn 117.72. New fast lap.
Yes. So Vaughn's showing there that the hards have some decent pace as well. Basically a challenge to Shipley, saying, "Come get me."
Well, Shipley went 118 dead the last time by, so you know he's still putting in laps. And
Yeah,
Shannon, who we saw struggling in the late laps on the mediums, went 117.97 last time by.
Yeah, even though Shipley is on the more aggressive strategy and is on the more aggressive tyre, Vaughn's absolutely still just going for it, not willing to give him any time at all. I think this lap's going to be quicker than Shipley's as well, looking at the gap. Across the line, it's going to be 118.3 for him. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. No, still making time.
10th to the good for Varnes.
Every 10th counts.
Now, the big question that I have is when is the 99 going to come in, because he's still on the same tires he started this race on. You know, we're past the halfway mark. Or no, we're at the halfway mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can math. Really, I can, folks.
I mean, we'll see, but it's...
you know, is he going to try to one-stop it with a medium soft?
I really don't think you can make that work, to be honest. Even so, if you can, is it quicker? Because he's currently roughly a second a lap off quickest.
Yeah, about 0.8 from his personal fast lap, yeah. And another sub 118 for Varnes that time by. So, I mean, the hards have some pace from what it looks like.
Yeah, they seem to be working surprisingly well. It's not a tyre you'd expect to work particularly well, especially around a track like this, but they are working, and actually this time by Rodrigo Miranda was only 0.4 off his quickest lap. So maybe those mediums still have a decent bit of life in them.
Well, I dare say that part of what we're seeing with the hards working as well as they are has to do a lot with what we're seeing for track conditions right now, as 82 degree Fahrenheit air temperature, 86 degree Fahrenheit track temperature, winds out of the southwest at 10 miles an hour. So they're catching a good tailwind down the front chute, but it's that high relative humidity that I think is really helping the fact that the hards are doing what they're able to do with these things. You know, if it was hotter, if it was greasier, if there was more less humidity in the air, you know, the mediums would show a lot more pace. The softs would show blistering pace, and I think the hards, you just kind of, you know, make your bed and now lie in it kind of deal. Whereas, you know, with the weather being how it is, we're seeing some great lap times being turned in here, as the field right now more strung out than a methadone clinic.
Yeah, I mean, Miranda still putting in decent laps. That was basically matching his best last time around. It's not going to be enough to see off Jakimiewski, who is closing in very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost a full second to the good that last lap over Miranda. So you got to wonder how much longer is Miranda going to stay out, as we are officially past halfway.
Yes. If he's super quick about it, Mievski might even be in DRS this time around. He's not going to be, but
Just outside of it.
yeah, it could be between turn 1 and 2. 17.7
doesn't look like it
for Mievski.
Wow.
We've got 3 17.7s now and a 17.9 from Shanna, who has gone on to soft tyres.
Yes, he has. Yep, Shanna's got the softs, and Higginbottoms has the softs. Everybody else are either on mediums or hards, with most of the field being on the hard.
Yeah. Theory then should be a distinct pace advantage for Shanna, but he's got himself tucked up right behind Juan Jose Gonzalez, so he's probably going to have to wait until the main straight to get a pass done, but see here Mievski and Miranda as well.
Absolutely. Miranda doing what he can to try to keep the Polish driver behind him, but Mievski's having none of it. Even on those hards, he's still showing a ton of pace, which is very impressive.
See here, down the main straight, Miranda tries to defend to the right, but Mievski's going to try it around the outside here, and it looks like it's going to be clean around the outside, as you said. Bye. But I think Alex Shanna probably going to be looking to replicate that in his Lumos E Motorsports car on that DriveX Esports car of Juan Jose Gonzalez. Let's have a look. Is it going to be exactly the same? Juan Jose Gonzalez sticking to the left for now, showing Shanna the inside. But he's not quite going to be alongside. Juan Jose Gonzalez still leaving a lot of space, and pretty much letting Shanna through there.
That worked.
He's got more pace.
Yeah, but Shanna's DRS opened and he was in front of Gonzalez.
Yes. So, interesting thing about the way that DRS works. So you get DRS for the next bit of straight if you're within a second at the activation, at the detection point, which Shanna would have been. I'm not exactly sure where the detection point is. If I can get him, that'll show me.
Just I've never seen that before, so I'm learning something new every day here, kids.
But yeah, there's probably a detection point just before turn 1, so Channa was behind just before turn 1, so to get the DRS even though he managed to make the pass.
Well, he used it pretty effectively there. I mean, goes sub 118 again with a 117.89.
Yep. So more drivers joining. 17's there. Tony Jimenez. Also catching Miranda at a very, very fast rate. I'm sure Miranda's got to think about pitting soon.
He kind of has to at this point.
Yeah, because those mediums very much aren't working anymore, and there we go. We're finally coming to the pits on lap 40. We managed to go a decent way in the race on those tyres. See, what does he change to?
I would expect to see hards from this point, knowing that he's got to change compounds at least once.
Yeah, so would I.
And you can definitely make it from here. Yup, hards on.
So going to the end there, only one driver yet to pit then. Juan Jose Gonzalez started on the hard tyres, currently running in 7th. And ooh, is there that puff of smoke out of turn 1? Did Miranda crash on turn 1?
No. Yes.
Crashed, so coming out the pits. Ooh, on the
Just
curb,
cold
just
tires and
spins
looped
it
it.
round. Yeah.
Didn't hit anything, though. That's the good news.
Yeah, the walls are fairly close at this track, but only one driver having been in them so far. But it's yeah, no, most of them have done pretty well to avoid being in a wall when they have spun.
Yeah, we saw some overzealousness in the early going of this piece, but everybody seemed to calm down a little bit as Miranda's in the pits.
Yes. Is this another drive-through? This could be the penalty for speeding in the pits. If it's another
What it looks like.
Yep, which it is, so...
I thought this car had a pit road speed limiter.
It does, but if you enter too quickly, then you're kinda screwed. But, getting some nice DRS
Okay,
there
I just
off
went
West
back and
Lex.
looked.
Yeah.
Miranda got popped for merging before the cone.
Oh, okay.
He went across the white line before he passed the cone, so that's what the pass-through was for Miranda.
Yeah, that's what... that'll do that one, then. But I don't think we're complaining, because it's going to give us some action to look at between Miranda and Epps.
Hard tire on hard tire crime here.
Yeah.
See what type of pace Miranda can get up here. Being as he's in the dirty air of Epps right now. Epps has had a pretty quiet race so far, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's most of the time it's a good thing to keep quiet, because then A, we're surprised when you get a good result at the end because it's not talked about you, and B, you're not going into any incidents. But here we go, Miranda on Epps, down the inside, just about enough space left there, but still side by side running through towards turn 2. Miranda's going to have to try and go around the outside. There's going to be contact between Epps and Miranda. Epps just trying to go a bit too far to the right when the Brazilian driver was still there. And Miranda not able to get through that time around. Hopefully not any damage on cars.
Well, those guys just had a nice screaming moment at each other in the sim.
A firm defense from Epps. Miranda not happy. He's going to try and make a move in the chicane. This isn't an overtaking spot, but he's going to try it anyway. Definitely not happy. Now side by side through Sector 2. We don't see this often. And makes it done. He's going to try and disappear off into the distance as we're going to have an angry Brazilian and an angry American.
Yeah, we're going to need to get the stewards to both of those pits at the end of the race. And Epps has a meatball flag.
Oh, interesting.
So there was damage on Epps' number 3 from that contact, which would explain why he was screaming at Miranda in the in-sim chatter. Neither one of them happy with the other. So far, though, Miranda seems to be okay.
Not exactly sure how that would be that much damage on that car, to be honest. It only looked like a bit of a small bump as Yakimievsky. 117.4, left the 117.7s, now 117.4, but see if I can find that again. Not this one.
I mean, the good news is if you're a Weston Epps fan, he was able to burn his fast repair cleanly, being as he did drive the car back to pit road. And he has now gone on to the mediums.
I would have to rewind it for some reason to find it, so bit of a rewind, here we go. Let's see if I can get a chase cam
just
on
before
that.
he cut the chicane, so
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, no, because they actually were not side by side coming towards turn 2. Epps is back in the pits again.
Oh, that's what it was. Front wing to the rear suspension upright.
Yeah. Luckily, with the sim, we can go into all sorts of chase cams and slow it down. But yeah, Miranda did actually. Well, he was trying to brake later to get around the outside of Epps, expecting him to stay further towards the inside. Epps covered onto the racing lines. He knew it was clear, and unfortunately, there was a rear to front contact with Miranda and Epps, neither of them going around. But personally, I can see why neither of them would be too happy with that one, though I don't think I'd be able to put blame on either of them.
It's just good hard racing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, up at the front, Thomas Barnes is just walking away with it as Jeremy Shipley comes in to put what we were going to believe is he's got to be going to softs this time.
Yeah, because the softs would be able to make it to the end. Though Shipley hasn't taken those mediums very long either time he's been on them. So maybe he tends to eat through the tyres, though it's
he went to
hards. Interesting.
Surprising.
Maybe then really not confident with his tyre wear. That's the only thing I can think. Oh, that's not going to help. Cold tyres.
Ouch.
Bit of a half spin out of the pits, and there goes Epps unlapping himself. Thought that might have been Shanna, but it was just Epps unlapping himself.
Right.
You can see Shipley there weaving to try and get some temperature into those tyres. There's going to be plenty of temps in the rears now. Now you just want to get your front side.
Well, as hard as he's going right now, I think he should get the heat into those fronts here within the next handful of corners. And then it's going to be fun to see what type of lap he can blister on those fresh tires.
Yeah, he's going to be able to... definitely going to be able to get it together. Taking bottom. Now. Well... expect probably another set of softs to the end, maybe mediums. I'm pretty sure he's been on mediums and softs, so it could go either way.
Yeah, he started with the mediums, went to the softs. Now I would expect him to go back to the mediums to close this one out.
But
yeah,
he does.
You know, if you're Shipley right now, you're really behind the 8 ball because you've got over 12 seconds before you can catch Tony Jimenez, who's currently sitting on the final step of the podium. And it's 18 seconds if you want to try to catch second place.
Yeah, he's got quite the distance to make up, but definitely time to do it in as well. Gap to Jimenez is not completely unassailable, though he would have to be consistently in the low 17s to be able to get there. So, have to see what type of laps he's doing, but...
So far, that last time by, the only one that went sub 118 was your second place, Yakomieski, with a 17.95. Compare that to the 18.03 of Varnes and the 18.3, well, 18 now 7.2 for Jimenez. Jimenez is starting to come into his oats right now.
Yeah, looks like he's catching up to Mievski, and there we go, Jeremy Shipley, 17.70, 17.699 even, for him, just getting that lap once again on Western Epps. I'm sure Epps not particularly wanting to move out of the way too quickly, as he had contact with Rodrigo Miranda, Shipley's teammate.
So he told Shipley to just go.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Got to get out of the way at some point, but probably could have moved slightly earlier. Didn't need to in the end. Shipley, with a good lap. Western Epps is going quickly on those new mediums as well.
Not quite as quickly as Shipley on the hards though, which is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I
wow.
have to agree.
Yakomieski just set the second quickest lap of the race.
Yeah, as we expect, time's getting quicker.
His second 17.4. Good grief.
So that is one to watch. See whether he can catch up to Thomas Varnes. He seems to have the pace advantage, but is it going to be enough? Oh, Shipley there, getting some sort of loose out of turn 3. And that did not help.
Looks like Epps got back by him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which, not what you want. You don't particularly want to be clearing traffic twice if you can help it. But let's have a look at Mievski's. 17.8 last time around. See what Jimenez can do. 17.4 joins the 17.4s, so I mean, to be honest, lap times being fairly inconsistent, so not exactly sure who's going to be catching who. When Miranda is getting closer and closer to Juan Jose Gonzalez, that I can say. Though Gonzalez has not pitted yet, he's been on hards since the start. So, softs for him?
I would expect softs out of that car. The only problem is he going to be able to stay on the lead lap when he does it? We'll find out.
No. Going down at the pit lane, you'll see Thomas Barnes coming through now. So, not going to stay on the lead lap there, but...
And blows through his pit stop.
Yep, overshooting the box there. As we expected, onto softs. Shanna's got to be coming in as well. Fairly soon.
I mean, we would assume that as much, but... just the skill level that we're seeing out of these drivers here tonight, it's very impressive. You know, as somebody that normally watches people struggle on oval courses, to see these guys be almost inch perfect lap after lap after lap on such a technical track as the Hungaroring, you know, this is very impressive.
So I do have to say it's a completely different style. I wouldn't say you don't have to worry about what the tyres do here, because you definitely do, but it's a lot more focus on it in ovals with what your tyres are doing and how hard you can run it into a corner.
Well, you're normally beating the hell out of the right front tire lap after lap after lap on most oval tracks.
At least
whereas here, you're beating the hell out of all four tires.
Yeah, it's more consistent over all of them. There's Shanna into the pits. Again, another set of soft tyres. And he's going to come out into a pretty lonely 6th place. Vaughan's just going past him there, so now only the top 5 are on the lead lap.
Holy cow.
Just shows some of the pace difference you can get in these cars.
117 dead on hards in race conditions.
Yeah, Jakimiewski absolutely pushing to try and get up towards the lead. Not sure whether he's going to have enough time to do it with 17 or so laps to go. He's got 12 seconds to make up.
And 16 laps to do it in.
Yeah.
I think he's running out of time.
He's consistently quicker than Vance. Looks like... I'd say that's around about half a second per lap, so that's not going to be enough. His last 2 laps were 8 tenths quicker each. Have to be staying around that mark. He's gone 7 tenths quicker this time around.
Yeah, he's fast running out of time. Now the good news is he is starting to pull a gap a little bit on Tony Jimenez, who's sitting in 3rd place. And Jimenez is pretty safe over Shipley right now in 4th place.
Yes. So Jimenez is basically got gaps building either side of him, just ensuring that he gets that third place now. Shipley is too far back to make anything happen. Because he tried the 2-stop strategy, but it looks like the 1-stop was the one that seems to work here today.
Yeah, and it was the way that they went about it too. Starting on the mediums, going to the hards seems to be the right move, and the guys that have done that are the guys that are running up towards the front. Varnes, Majewski, Jimenez, and Shipley all trying it. Miranda trying something different, Gonzalez trying something different, Sienna trying something vastly different, and it did not pay off here tonight at the Hungaroring.
So that effectively leaves everyone in a gulf, which is unfortunately what we tend to see with these cars, no matter who you put in them. Is you're going to have gaps in the field as people naturally spread out. Normally pit strategy brings people closer, though there has been one pit strategy that just has worked over the rest here tonight, as we've said, with the 1-stop being firmly looking better unless the hard runner tyres massively go off towards the end, which I don't think they will.
So let me pose this question to you, Jason. As we've broadcast a ton of leagues across different platforms, or different series in the iRacing across different cars and different track combinations, we have seen series in the past have a mandatory safety car on road courses at about the 2/3 mark of the race.
Interesting.
What would your feeling be about that?
To be honest, to me it feels a bit artificial. It feels like if you're, from a driver's perspective, if you're running the perfect race, up at the front, started on pole position, as we're seeing here Thomas Varnes doing, he couldn't have done anything better. If you've then got a safety car coming out, and you have one bad lap on the restart, then you could be stuck behind someone for quite a while. And as we've seen in the past with these cars and the safety car, your tyres, well, frankly, ice wouldn't melt on them when you come out of the pits. Not when you come out of the pits, sorry, when the safety car is done. You've got no temperature at all, so I think in these cars, definitely not. It'd probably work better in something like Mazda MX-5s or TCRs, but in those types of cars, it doesn't necessarily is needed. So I think probably not for me.
See, that's how I felt when they started doing that in some of the NASCAR series that we broadcast. And at first, I kind of hated it, but when they started to break it down for you win the stage and you get 10 bonus points for doing so.
Yeah.
You really see games start to go up, and drivers really change their attack on the race when they know it's the closing laps of the stage to try to get as many bonus points as they can to add to their final race total. It can both help and hurt in a championship, and it can both help and hurt from that standpoint that you mentioned, that it does seem artificial, and it kind of penalizes the drivers that can each out a 12-second gap or a 10-second gap over the car behind them. It really punishes the good drivers and rewards the drivers that maybe aren't quite as good, but they're good on a restart.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes sense with stage racing on an oval. I've found especially super speedways where you can easily stay in a pack. You're going to have at least 10 cars running together, normally even upwards of 20. It definitely makes a lot more sense there, especially with the stages, as you said, getting bonus points, but not sure how well it would work here. I would definitely be more for it if it was, say, halfway through the race and you had bonus points for winning the stage.
Well, we've seen that in a couple of IndyCar leagues that we used to broadcast.
Yeah, because then you might see different tyre strategies running around, and then bringing that into play. You know, you may have seen drivers staying out a lot longer, because I'm pretty sure at the halfway point we would have had a different leader, if I'm remembering correctly. Might be wrong.
Yeah, at the exact halfway mark, yeah. I believe it was Gonzalez that led on the hard.
Could well have been. Yeah.
Huh?
Could well have been, because he was the last one to pit, so that would encourage a different pit strategy to what we're seeing now, as Vaughan's there putting another lap on his teammate Rory Collins. But overall, I think for these cars, it probably wouldn't be too necessary. What was necessary was being able to follow, and that's what we've got in the 2022 version of the cars. And from what they did say in the deal between Mercedes, AMG, Petronas Formula One team, and iRacing, that the 2022 car will be coming at some point, and they're going to be working on it throughout the year.
Yeah, probably when the 2025 car comes out.
I wouldn't expect it would be during the season, at least towards the end of it. But it might actually depend on how competitive the Mercedes car is this year, because it's mute now if you don't want any spoilers, but doesn't look to be the most competitive of machines, I have to say.
Oh shucks.
Which, in my opinion, after years of domination, cool. See someone else winning.
Well, that seems to go in circles. You know, there was a while where we saw Williams dominate. There was a while where we saw McLaren dominate. There was a while where we saw Ferrari just eat everybody's lunch. There was a while back in the 70s where Tyrrell was the car to have. So it goes in circles, and you can usually tell. It's kind of a running gag that you can tell when Ferrari is going to be competitive in Formula One, because their road car lineup is lackluster, shall we say. And you take a look at...
What have they come out with in the previous few years?
Huh?
What have Ferrari come out with in the previous few years?
Not a whole heck of a lot that's noteworthy.
Checks out.
So, going off of that meme, Ferrari should be towards the front of the grid all season long.
Well, going by the first race's standards, you would be correct. Not sure if you're planning on watching it or not.
No, I don't have access to the race.
What is it broadcast on in the US? What is it
ESPN.
broadcast on? Okay.
So if you would like to donate to the Let's Help Tony Watch Real Life Racing on a television, fund, you can send your checks care of Citizens Against Sales Harassment, or you can use the acronym CASH. Send it to ESBN Towers, Syracuse, New York, P.O. Box OU812.
There you go. Hope you all got that one. But while we were talking about real life, Jakub Miewski, first driver into the 116s, 116.954. On those hard tyres, you can see how much just pure fuel burn gains you time.
Yeah, it does.
Well, obviously lighter car, quicker car. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and he's 35 laps on those tires, too. That's what's impressing me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Is 35 laps onto these tires, and he's still flirting with sub-17s. Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he is running out of time to catch your race leader, Thomas Barnes.
That is very true. Ooh, hello. 116.6. Wow. Tony Jimenez. That's very impressive. Yeah, unless something dramatically changes, I don't think Miewski's going to be catching here. Because he's going to need to be over a second a lap faster, and that's at the moment not happening. So to be perfectly honest, this race order that we're seeing now may well be the same as what we're going to be seeing in the end.
Safe bet. Very safe bet there. As again, Jason, this is more your forte than it is mine. But I was concerned when they first asked me to come broadcast these Formula One races with you, because I thought, oh, it's just going to be a road race, but this is a chess match at 160 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's like, it's especially good when, oh dear, something's happened to Jeremy Shipley.
Yeah, he's missing half his car.
Well, he's in a wall there.
Oh my.
A bit sideways there, so we'll have to do a bit of a rewind and have a look at what happened. Let's go for a T-cam view. Get onto the roll bar camera. Play it back. Into one wall and then directly into the opposite wall. I think that was a bit of a skateboard grind there.
Yes, it was. We call that stepping on one's own junk.
Yep. The rumble strips on the left, unsettling the car with the body of it over the red and white portion of the curbing. And Jeremy Shipley jumping to the pits quick enough for there to not be a safety car come out in the last few laps of the race.
As we are going to be 5 to go at the stripe, and there's only 3 drivers left on the lead lap. Thomas Barnes, who has led most of the laps here tonight from pole position. Jakub Miewski, and I know I'm butchering that name, so I do apologize. And Tony Jimenez rounding out your podium. Those are the only drivers left on the lead lap. That's impressive.
Yeah. Very true. If you're lead lap, you have a podium at the moment. Which just goes to show the pace of the top 3 drivers at the moment. Pace and consistency, I think, because the pace isn't far off for some of the guys below. Just the consistency that we've been seeing from this top 3 frankly quite insane.
Yeah, very much so. As sorry about that, folks. I got distracted ever so slightly because I'm doing a little bit of behind-the-scenes prep for the second stop in today's quadruple header. This being the opening round at a little after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And Jason and I will be in the booth for the ISNF Cup Series, round 11 from Dover tonight. And Jason, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to be in the booth for that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty sure it'll be my second race commentating over Dover, so it's going to be an interesting one to see. That's a mile long. Ooh, oh dear, yeah. Watching that and looking at my second monitor, Jakub Majewski there going past.
Barnes can't get the car pointed straight.
Yeah, doing about 1,000-point turns, try and get it pointed the right way. Jimenez closing in now, hopefully not too much damage. Let's get a replay of that one. As just one lapse in concentration does it, coming out the first hairpin of the two for the final corners. And just spins it around. Didn't hit the wall by the looks of things, but that changed the complexion of the race completely. The Polish driver Jakub Majewski now up at the front for Pleb Racing. Now he's got a 10-second gap over Vance, who is about 6.3 back to Jimenez. Just see one mistake, and there you go.
It's just that easy to do too. Can be, you know, being as we are in about an hour 30 that these drivers have been, you know, up on the wheel and just manhandling these cars around the Hungaroring. This late in a race, mistakes happen, and it's who can minimize the detriment of those mistakes that's really going to come out on top. And you know, unfortunately, Barnes felt the pressure and gave into it. Now he's got to, you know, drive for his life to try to claw back anything he can on Majewski.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a hell of a few laps to get anywhere with that. Now, got a full 10-second gap. They're all in the 118s here, apart from Shannon, whose last lap was a 17.8. But it's gonna be big one to try and get back, and with what's that? It's going to be 3 laps to go. It will be 2 laps to go, won't it? Honestly, in my opinion, not gonna.
All he's got to do, Barnes just has to keep it clean, and he does have a podium. Granted, he's going to be a little dejected when we talk to him, but all things considered, it was just that one mistake today.
Yeah.
And the fact that it happened so late in the run, you know, it's basically insurmountable now to overcome it unless Majewski has a major issue. As we are 2 to go.
Well, as we saw, it absolutely can happen. But it's just trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Jakub Majewski now going into Sector 2 for the second to last time. As looks like has there been an incident further back? It's telling me Juan Jose Gonzalez had a crash. Showing him coming up to turn 1. It's going to be a lock up and a half spin, then trying to get back on the power, another half spin through turn 1. or the DriveX Esports car. But luckily there wasn't anyone too close to him, though Weston Epps is gaining. He might be able to go on the back of him. But white flag here for Jakub Miewski. Coming through for the final lap now.
Majewski, Varnes, Jimenez, as that spin by Varnes allowed Miranda to get back on the lead lap. So, you know, the three drivers at the front of this piece have been at the front of this piece for the vast majority of it. You know, Majewski has set some of the fastest times we've seen tonight. Varnes has led the vast majority of tonight from pole position. Jimenez has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:16.65. So, you know, the fact that here we are an hour and a half into the race and we've only seen one major issue from one of your top three, and it wouldn't have hurt so bad had it not taken him so long to get pointed straight. As Majewski comes out of the final corner, waves to his team. Your winner, Jakub Miewski.
Yeah, and Thomas Varnes coming through for second position. Would have wanted it to be a win, but unfortunately one mistake does it. Tony Jimenez, DriveX Esports, third place. I believe that is one of, if not the best result for the team. Now looking back, looks like Juan Jose Gonzalez is going to be able to fend off Weston Epps. 2-second gap between them. As Shan has crossed the line,
corner.
Collins has crossed the line. Yep, Gonzalez coming through. Has enough fuel, makes it through. And Weston Epps finishing behind him in 7th position. Now just waiting for Hickenbottom, who's going to be next across the line. And then Rodrigo Miranda to come through in 4th position.
You know, I was wondering about the tire strategy that Gonzalez was going with. He stayed on the hards for about 2/3 of the race, finally was the last one to pit, and went on to the softs, and he was able to hold on up 2 positions from where he started, coming home in 6th. So very nice drive out of the Spaniard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting way of doing it. It's probably the other way around from what most of the drivers would have done. That's qualifying results. That's the race results. As we can see, confirmation there. Jakub Miewski, he won. Thomas Varnes, 2nd place. Tony Jimenez in 3rd. Rodrigo Miranda in 4th, rounding out the lead lap. Then Alexander Shanna, Juan Jose Gonzalez, Weston Epps. Those were all 1 lap down. Rory Collins and Damaris Hickenbottom ending up 3 laps down. Jeremy Shipley retiring 8 laps to go. Not of his own volition, of course, but unfortunately, as we've seen, one mistake can do it. And Elisa Long there had to retire on lap 5. And that just about rounds off quite a good race. Have a look to see if we have any drivers in the waiting room. No one as of yet, so we'll see if we get anyone for interviews. Just a moment for them.
But Jason, like I mentioned, you know, there's just a ton of you know, talent in this field, and the fact that these guys could stay laser focused for an hour and a half and put that car exactly where it needed to be. I'm not going to stop gushing over this for the rest of the day. You know, just the level of talent needed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the looks of things, we have one driver in so far, and that is our winner, Jakub Miewski. Hello.
Hello there. Yes.
So,
Congratulations tonight,
yeah.
sir, on the victory.
Thank you very much. It was very much unexpected.
What was going through your mind when you saw Thomas Barnes spun out in front of you?
Uh, First thought was like, hell yeah. Obviously, it's not very. It's a bit rude to think that, but of course, that's the first thought that you have in your mind as a competitor. And then when I saw the gap after Thomas had gathered himself, I just went into complete safe mode for the last 4 laps, and that was it.
Did you expect the hard tires to have the pace that they had here tonight?
I did not do any practice on them at this track, but from my experience at the first race of the season at Barcelona, I knew that the hards had both good pace and good durability in them, and I hoped that they would work here as well.
Well, you were one of only two drivers in race mode to go sub 117. So hats off to you on that one. But
Thank you.
Jakob, just how difficult was it to maintain focus here tonight, especially with so much separation in front and in back of you as far as uh, intermediate splits?
Yeah, I enjoy this track to just drive around it. As we know from real life racing, it's not the greatest for wheel to wheel action, but just to lap it, it's quite nice, I think. And thanks to that, I just had quite an easy time just keeping a consistent pace throughout the race.
Well, you definitely did that. You were one of the fastest cars all night long, no matter which compound of tire you were on. So hats off to you for that. Who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate the victory with your team?
Um, hmm. Definitely thanking my team first and foremost. If you definitely saw Alyssa turn up,
Not the night
that's
she was
because
hoping for.
yes, Igor was feeling unwell, so Alyssa jumped in at the last second, and unfortunately just couldn't make it stick really. Uh, but thanks to her for the support anyway, and she went off to chill after that, but I managed to bring it home.
Jason, do you have anything for him?
Just gonna check the schedule here for the next race. Where are we gonna be in a week's time? USA Grand Prix. That
Coda.
sounds like Kota to me. So, what's your thoughts going into that?
I haven't raced much there, and definitely not in a car like this. So it will be a new experience to be learning that track in a downforce car.
It's going to be
So
hot and it's
looking,
going to be Texas, so
yes,
expect low grip levels.
yes, definitely, and I definitely thrive in colder conditions, where it's more sticky. So it will be challenging for sure.
Well,
Yeah, well,
Jakob, congratulations on the victory again tonight.
Thank you again. See you next time, possibly.
Yes, yes, sir. And joining us now, the man who's got to be a little dejected, but still okay with coming home on the podium, Thomas Varnes, heartbreaker there in the closing laps.
Yeah, I got a little antsy on the throttle, felt it going, and tried my best to save it, and thankfully kept it out of the wall. But
Yeah,
after leading for 60 something laps and having that happen, a little disappointing, but it happens.
yeah, but you did half the battle, and that was something that we did see a lot of tonight. Drivers going off track and eating an Armco barrier. So that's the plus side. You didn't hit anything, but the downside was unfortunately you relinquished the lead in the closing laps. But I'll ask you the same question that we talked to Jakob about. Uh, did you know that the hard compounds were going to have the pace that they had?
I mean, I had an idea. He definitely had more pace than I did, especially later in the stints. It just felt like he was, half a second faster a lap, towards the very end of his stint, whereas I was, slowing down a lot more. But yeah, I knew the pace was good. And, I did a lot of practicing on tire wear, just to get a gauge of what was going on and pace and stuff like that. My original plan was actually, I was planning on doing a two stop, uh, but the tires felt a little better than I expected them to later in the stint. So, I pushed it, and with being in control of the race, I pushed it and based my pit stops off of the cars behind it to try to stay out front, instead of trying to play catch up.
Well, we go into what will essentially be your home Grand Prix next week, Circuit of the Americas. Your thoughts going into Texas?
I love the track. I'm looking forward to racing on it. I need a lot of work yet, but I got a week to prepare, so should be able to do it. And it's one of my favorite tracks that Formula One races on. I just really enjoy driving it.
Well, Thomas, before we let you go, do the download with your team and figure out a strategy for next week with them. Who do you need to thank for coming home on the podium tonight?
Well, I mean, Rory just being in the chat with me and keeping me aware of what, because I think it was last week we were radio silent for so long that when someone said something in chat, I lost the car. So need to thank Rory for keeping me on my toes a little bit more, so that didn't happen this week.
Jason, do you have anything for him?
No, you've already asked about the next race, so congratulations on the second. I know you would have wanted it to have been a win, but unfortunately, one mistake is all it takes. But you can take consolation that it was only one mistake. Either way, congratulations on the second, and we look forward to seeing you at COTA.
Thank you.
So that was our second place, Thomas Barnes. And Jason, we got another one in the books. You and I need to go hop on the teleporter to get our backsides to Dover, Delaware.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long way to travel in the span of half an hour, but we can do it through the magic of the internet. But that was a good race, and I'm definitely looking forward to next week at Circuit of the Americas. But apart from that, I think that's all, unless you have any closing thoughts.
No, I just, again, I'm shocked that the hard compounds had as much pace as we saw out of them. But, congratulations to everybody that finished this one, as we did have quite a bit of attrition here tonight. Congratulations on Jakub Majewski for coming home with the victory, hanging in there, hanging tough. Tony Jimenez for coming home in third place. We did not get a chance to talk to Tony tonight, but congratulations on the podium for him and his team. And yeah, it was a great show tonight, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think then we wish everyone good afternoon or evening or a good rest of the day wherever you are. Make sure if you're into the oval racing, make sure to tune in to ISNF to hear our lovely voices. Once again, in about half an hour's time, we're going to be at Dover for 200 laps of that circuit, and
that'll be the second of 4 races tonight. As we have the ISNF Cup Series green flag scheduled to fly at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Then Fired Up Esports League round number 10 from Texas Motor Speedway. That is a 7:20 Eastern time start, and the nightcap Sunday night NASCAR round number 5 from Hotlanta at 8:20. So for Mr. Jason Sawford, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, please don't plan